Welcome back to Vaguely Adults, show where two vaguely looking adults talk about vaguely adult things. Today we're trying something new. We picked a topic in advance.
Woo, let's see how that goes. We should time ourselves though.
iPhone, which took amazing pictures of my new Dreamcatcher albums, which I only
Yay.
opened one of 5 because that's the type of person I am. Anyways, so I'm out of breath already. We tried today. I put on a real shirt. Yeah, so today's little chit chat is basically all the times that we got dumb hurt in dumb ways. So leave it to you to kick it off.
Okay, I'll start with the most dramatic one that actually happened to me. So when I was in the 5th grade, that's about what, like 9, 10? I don't actually know ages, but I was in the 5th grade. It was like midway through the semester, so it was through the school year. So it was probably like January, I want to say, maybe December. I was at my aunt's house, and my aunt was trying to get her landlord to fix her door in her bathroom because it just like you had to lift it to close it because like it was kind of off the hinge. And I was tiny, like I'm tiny now, but I was really tiny then. And so trying to lift the door was nearly impossible. I had to like put my hand on the wall to try to like balance myself to like lift that door to close it because I needed to use the bathroom. But what I didn't notice was that my thumb was where the hinges are. So when I lifted it and slammed it closed, my thumb also slammed closed. And then naturally I felt weird. So I looked at my hand and it was gushing. It was like it was bad. So I calmly grabbed my thumb, my hanging thumb, um with my other hand walked into the kitchen because my grandma was babysitting me, my cousin, and my little sister. And I was like, Grandma, I had an accident. And she's like cooking, and she looks at me and she's like, what? And I just kind of
I
removed
mean,
my hand,
you're
and my
just like holding a thumb.
yeah, and my thumb is just like and she panics and grabs like a dish towel and wraps my thumb around it, and she's like panicking and crying, and like it was a hot mess. And so then we had to drop off my sister and my little cousin at the neighbor's place because she had to take me to the hospital, but my grandma doesn't speak English, so it was a hot mess. When we were trying to hail a cab, I have a bloody dish towel around my finger, and we get into a cab and my grandma's panicking. Luckily it was like a Dominican driver, so my grandma was speaking in Spanish. She was like, we have to get her to the hospital, we have to get her to the hospital, please, like she's panicking. And I'm just sitting there like, this is fine, I am fine. And the taxi driver starts running through red lights because he sees that I'm like bleeding in his back seat, and he's just like zooms me to the hospital, and nobody was picking up the phone, and my grandma's panicking all by herself in the hospital. And basically the doctor was like, it's a good thing if you had slammed it a little bit harder, you would have just lost your thumb, like it just missed my nerve. And so I kept my thumb. It took like 5 anesthesia shots that burned like there was no tomorrow, and my mom had to leave the room because I was crying so badly. But they literally just had me sitting in the waiting room for hours, like chilling with my thumb in my hand. And
As opposed to being on the floor.
right. And then my mom had to leave the room because I was crying so bad, and my dad had to come in with me because my mom was like, I can't hear her in pain. And that's just, and then I was like, I had a cast on for like super long. I had to miss a lot of school. But that's the story of how I almost lost my thumb in the 5th grade.
Exciting. Since we're going on the cast story, I'll talk about the time that I hurt myself and had to have a cast as well. I think I was still in Trinidad, so it was like I was a tiny lad. I'm already a tiny lad, but it's like I was a tiny, tiny, tiny one. My cousin had gotten, I think, a new skateboard or whatever, and I was like just really excited to try it out. And you're a kid and you see a skateboard and you're like, let's do something. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally like I'm stood on it, like legit just stood on it, and I'm like going like just kind of tiny bit back and forth. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, look, look, look. And then all of a sudden, all I remember is hitting the floor. And I put my hands out to like try to brace myself from, just face planting. And next thing you know, I was just like in pain, but so much pain that I didn't know if I wanted to cry or laugh or just whatever. And like my cousin was like, oh my God, I'd leave you alone for like 2 seconds. And then my grandma came downstairs and she like put me on the hood of the car or something like that and was like playing with my wrist. And she was like, I think it's broken. So we go to the hospital, whatever. And if I remember correctly, I was just there chilling, broken wrist and all. And we got taken into this room and there's like this boy like thrashing around in the back and was like strapped down to like a bed or something. And the doctor goes, okay, 1, 2, and just like popped my wrist back into place. And I was like, but that's if I remember the story correctly, because I remember that I was very distracted when they were like realigning my wrist.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, everything's pretty vague memories. I just came out of there with a cast and had
Big
it
move.
for quite a while. And it was so massive. Granted, I'm a very tiny person, but like,
Yeah.
it was just, oh man. I used to have like a chopstick or like a hanger or something that I would like use to like stick down the cast when I got itchy. It was gross. It was gross.
Oh, the cast on.
Um, a while. I think I just repressed a lot of memories, but I think it was like a good 3-ish months, maybe.
Yeah, I remember I had to get physical therapy for my thumb because I couldn't move it. And so, like, I don't know how to answer the question, have you ever broken a bone? Because I'm like, yes and no.
Yes.
Like, I almost lost my thumb. I don't know if that counts as breaking a bone. I broke a phalange,
I mean, it's a yeah.
but yeah.
Also, we already hit 6-ish minutes, and that's hilarious. We only got through 2 stories.
Okay,
What quick bonus stories? Try to get out like 2 more stories.
I can get okay. I'll do one, and you can do one. Quick bonus story. I think this was really short. So we were little, me and my sister. My sister's 5 years younger than me, just for reference for Sarana's European friends. So she I don't remember how old we were at the time, but it had to have been, we were really small. And we were watching the Spanish version of Dancing with the Stars. I think it was called like Quiero Bailar Contigo or something like that.
See,
And it's like a bunch of like Spanish artists dancing. It's Dancing with the Stars in Spanish. And so, you know how they do all this like flips and tricks and all the cool stuff. And like, we were very little. So we were like, that's so cool. We could totally do that because we're light. Um, And so me and my sister are like practicing dancing in like my mom's room, and we're like are on her bed, and my sister's like, we could totally do that flip where the girl is behind him and she like jumps and he like flips her over in front. And I was like, bet, like let's do it. And so she gets behind me and I flip her forward, except she slips and then I slip. And we're on the bed. The dresser's directly in front of the bed. So her back just crashed against the corner of the dresser, like the corner of the dresser. We heard a crack. And my brother walks in at the same time that we're doing this. And he just gets so red. And he starts yelling about how it was really irresponsible and we could get hurt. And then starts like running to my sister and is like, oh my God, are you okay? And me and my sister just like look at each other, look back at my father, and just burst out into laughter at the same time. Like the synchrony of our laughter was hilarious. And my dad is like red in the face and he's yelling. And me and my sister are just dying of laughter on the floor. Anyway, in conclusion, if she moved a little bit more to the left, she probably would have been paralyzed for life. But here we are. God was like, not today. So
uh, wow. Glad that she's still with us. Glad that she's a great artist. Maybe that's what, really kicked things into,
yeah.
put things into momentum. My next quick story. Should I go with the time I got bitten by a dog or the time I busted my chin open? Or,
The dog.
it's funny because it came up recently. I think we were literally just talking about dogs. And by we, I mean SNSD Discord. That's the only place I live these days. And, so I'll paint the picture. It was a morning, it was really early. I was on my way to a college interview because they did things like that. And I literally didn't get like 2 blocks like away from my apartment building. And there were like these 2 Shibas just tied up outside of this bakery. And I made eye contact with one of them, but I was just minding my own business and I was walking by. And then all of a sudden, I felt pressure on my upper back thigh. And I was like, uh-oh. And I turned to my friend because he was going with me for like moral support. And I was like, oh no, it just bit me. Anyway, let's still go on the train. So we get on the train, we get seats, and I'm just like, something's not sitting right, literally. We get to the second stop, and I get up and I wipe the back of my thigh and I look at my hand and it's bloodied, and I'm like, I think we have to go back home. So we get up, we go around, we take the next train, we come back. I walk back home, started limping. I come through the door and I'm just like, Mom, I think we gotta go to the doctor. And then I come inside and I take my pants down and like it's just puncture wounds. Like you just, if I can find a picture, warning, graphic, I'll put it here.
What?
But it was just ridiculous. I was just minding my business trying to go to like a college interview. And then suddenly I had a dog bite right under my butt. It was quite the time to be alive. Then I went to the hospital and I had to get like 13 injections or something like that because on the way back I didn't see the dog and I didn't think in the time that I got bit, oh, I should check to see if the dog got its rabies shots or whatever. What a time. Don't interview for college, kids. That's the moral of my story.
I think a good conclusion to take from our stories is that in the face of danger, we are extremely calm people. You literally were like, time to get on the train after being bit by a dog. And I was just holding my thumb walking to the kitchen in the 5th grade, like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, Grandma, I had an accident. Like, if that's not us, but I panic at small things like missing a deadline. But losing a limb,
The anxiety is just different, like it hits different, literally.
yeah.
But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this rendition of two idiots talk about how idiotically they've gotten hurt, and the effort that we put, because I put on like a real shirt for the first time
This is my shirt.
It's a really good shirt, TBH. I went with the theme, as you can see. This is my own photo, by the way, taken in January 2020, when we were able to go outside. This is a beach in Trinidad. It's called Maracas, and it's one of my favorite beaches ever. Anyways, thank you for letting me plug myself. Also, thank you for watching and or listening if you have. This may have sounded like a kind of panicked, short, squeezed episode, but it's because like we're really trying to get this timing thing down, and we also don't like watching really long videos, but hope this was entertaining to you in any way, shape, or form. So
sorry if it triggered you at all. I don't think it was that graphic, but you never know.
Yeah, teach their own. Anyway, stay hydrated, stay safe, stay 6 feet apart or 2 meters, depending on where you live, and metric units, but yeah. Bye, friends.